like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my mind life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I know my patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger, Ain't no luck finding real love. Gotta know where to look. Time moves fast, and I've grown up. Yeah, I run to you. Used to pay to my mind life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I haven't felt this in ages, and I know my patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger, What can I do to make you stay a little longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a little longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger.
Where are you going? Going so fast tonight. Have you ever stopped beside the road to smell the rose of life? Take a breath now. Don't hold it in too long, 'cause you might end up missing out on life's short little song. She's saying, ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Got one life to live, don't let it go. Can you let go of it all tonight? Or will you decide to push on through and ignore the words inside? Take a breath now, don't hold it in too long, 'cause you'll find you're missing out. A last short little song, she's saying, ooh, You've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Ooh, you've got one life to live. She's singing, ooh, you've got one life to live. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. Got one life to live. You've got one life to live. Don't let it go.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? Oh, I see there's a bunch of you guys already here. Thanks. Thanks for joining. Short notice and such. I don't know, I just kind of decided last second that I would, F it. I have chores that I need to do, and I should stream them and hang out with people if they're available, rather than just do it alone in my room, hanging out. Apparently I'm gonna spill on myself. What's up, Frisco Melt? How you doing? I have some basic stuff that I need to accomplish today. Oh, I'm all zoomed out. What's this? Oh, a washer. Nylon washer. Let's zoom back in just a little bit. Anyway, good evening, Collision. How you doing? Like I said, I know that this is a relatively unannounced stream day, but I was organizing all of my stuff really recently, and I realized these are all the builds that I have to do for me that I have things for currently in my possession. And these are mine, not customer ones. Customer ones are against the wall in the corner. So, like, some of them are boards that you guys have seen me work on or build before. Some of them aren't, but they're all things that, like, at some point I need to handle. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm getting all the stuff in order to do all of them. So like I have all the switches, but some of them need to be lubed. You know, just choices that I need to make and stuff. So I'm literally gonna put them all there, make sure that they're all ready. And I think what I'm gonna do is like random lottery, like start the stream not knowing what I'm gonna build and just be like, everybody choose a number. And, you know, whatever it is, I'll be like, oh, well, that's this one, and we'll do that one. But there's a TX1800 V2 in there, a fake SCOG, TX84, the red one that I have. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm not a big fan of linears, so I'm going to replace what's in there with different switches. Purple 5 degree case that I have that has Orange Alps in it. I'm actually going to replace it with Black Alps because I want those Orange Alps back. And the PCB maybe seems finicky. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be ready. But we're definitely not. Wow, Windows just thought restarting would be a good idea. Why don't we pick a time that's sometime in the future? Like 2 a.m. Tomorrow. Wow. Okay. Why don't we do that? Good, we'll close that. Sorry. Anyway, so 5 degree, my salamander, the one with brown Alps, I'm gonna take its brown Alps out. And I'm gonna put Orange Alps in it. And then J01 above that. J01 isn't ready, but the rest of those, with the exception of maybe needing to, well, whatever. I'm not even gonna go into it. Oh, weird. Huh. Okay, let's close Discord. Hey, what's up, Jerk Chicken? How you doing? So yeah, I was just going over, I needed to work in some other chore streams because I have a bunch of builds of mine, like my personal ones, that I need to do, including customer ones. So I'm gonna be doing some more chores videos. Those won't all be chores, those will be builds, even though I probably will stagger them in with customer ones. But these chores builds today, I have a couple of these. I don't know if you guys are familiar. A bunch of you, I'm sure, are. Apple M0116s, some Orange Alps goodness getting harvested for upcoming builds and stuff. And then this KBDPAD V1 that I have, which has 78 gram Zealios. I'm gonna remove them from in there. I want them to not be in there. I never use that thing. And those are like my favorite modern Switch, so we're gonna take them back. Anyway, Without too much further ado, since it's a chores video anyway, we'll get started right up. So I was just doing some maintenance work on my gun. Cleaned out the tube, whatever. I still need to clean the tip probably. Make sure the filter's good. You know, the whole deal, since we're gonna be desoldering a bunch of old stuff. Actually, I think we'll start with this KBDPAD. That's what I want to start with. We're definitely going to use our awesome soldering pad thing today because it turns out that old boards tend to have a bunch of junk in them, and I haven't pulled the keycaps off those or messed with them at all. So I'm sure they're gross and dirty on the plate. All sorts of disgustingness, I'm sure, is in there. Anyway, all right. Get to pull in some switches, or pull in some keycaps. So, anything, what are you guys all jumping in on this month? I'm so curious because, for me, I really kind of want to jump in on First Love, but I kind of also want to save my money because the next couple months are going to be like all sorts of craziness. I don't know. Like, I got group buys galore coming up. I don't know. What's up, TSC? Which dry lube do I usually use if necessary for SKCM? Ooh, that's a really good question. Hold on, and I'll show you. There's a couple different options that I think are notable mentions. If you get your hands on some of the more exotic Korean available ones like the RO59 and stuff like that, I think that might be worth. Ones that I've felt that have those were worth for sure. Good evening, stream. Yes. So I think those are notable mentions. However, I've never used them personally. I've never applied those. I have applied this, and I've seen others apply the same thing. And there's a lot of different methodologies for application. So there's that, and then there's a full dry lube powder. This can be acquired on Amazon. In fact, both of those can be. And you can apply this with a brush. The other one, you want to like spray a Q-tip and then just apply it to the slider. So yeah, that's kind of my SKCM lubing. That being said, a lot of them don't need any lube. Like, they're just good right out of the harvest. For me, a lot of times. But I don't know. To each their own, I guess. I have applied, and this will go way against conventional wisdom. I have applied 3204 to the inside rails of an Alps housing to great effect. So 3204 in there, and then I used a Q-tip to apply like Krytox GPL 106, so a thin oil, all over the outside surface of the actual slider, and then popped it in there. So basically what was happening is the 3204 was lubricating the guides as it goes up and down, and then the contact leaf and the tactility leaf was riding against the slider, which had the thinner oil on it, and that was amazing. In fact, those are some of the best Black Alps that I've ever touched. Black Alps, I know. Who knew? They could be awesome. Alps are very... You can have pretty wildly different experiences with Alps switches, depending on how you build your board and how you apply lubes and stuff. Oh yeah, I'll lower it. Sorry about that. Better? Hopefully that's better. If it needs to go down more, you guys just let me know. But thank you for Scum Out. I don't want to blow people's ears out. I don't want to drive people away with loud music. My volume is independent of your guys's. Yeah, it's better, I hope. Yeah, my volume is independent of yours, so like I can kind of adjust my own independently. And I'm okay with it. Like I like that in a way. It has its own downside, obviously. But has its upsides too. So we aren't rebuilding this KBD pad. I'm literally just gonna take it apart and then yeah, and then I'm not putting it back together today. I will put it back together on another stream later, but I'm actually removing its 78 gram Zealio V2s, which are lubed, but they're lubed in a way that matches another board that I built with a very light coating of 3204, and I actually want to lubricate them and a bunch of other switches that I already have that are lubed more. I want to apply more lube to them to match some of my more modern lube jobs, more recent, I guess, not modern, more recent lube jobs where I've put a heavier coating, gotten, in my opinion, a much better result. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these off, and in order to lube them more uniform, I'm actually going to take all the other switches like it, 78 gram Zealio V2s that were lubed in the way that these were. I'm going to take them back apart and put them back into the mix and apply more lube to all of them. So I did that yesterday for some 62 gram. No, I did that for some Telios. And I basically just lubed them a little differently, a little heavier, relubed all the springs a little bit heavier so that they didn't crunch at all. It was a wonderful thing. It worked out really well. There was a lot of switch lubing that went on for me yesterday. Like a lot. I didn't get around to that giant bag of Holy Jesus switches that I have, unfortunately. Because there's I counted them, 285 in that bag. Like, I don't know if all those stems are gonna fit in the containers that I typically use to lube stems. However, I have a rock tumbler that I used to use for reloading like long range bench rest rifle cartridges or whatever. I still will sometimes, I guess, but it's been a long time since I've done any of that work. But I have this big rock tumbler, and no what? Anyway, rock tumbler. So I put the whole container that I lube my stems in. So the one that I shake for tub lubing, put it in there with lube and tightened it down and threw it in the rock tumbler, and it just and left it in there for hours, and it was wonderful. I didn't have to the whole day, you know. Sorry. Are you knowing my use of a rock tumbler for this? I'm sorry, man. The rock tumbler was awesome. No, that'd be so gross. That would be so wrong in so many ways. I mean, unless you just are balling it so hard that you can have a rock tumbler that's just got a thick coating of whatever lube on it you prefer. That would be ridiculous, man. Just, you know, lubing them up. All right, so this should be pretty quick. Sorry if this is loud, guys. Oof. Almost needs to be a filter for sound in this frequency range. Yeah. Gross but well polished because rocks. Yeah. Yeah, they weren't polished, that's for sure. They were well coated in lube. I don't know. I thought it was a great idea. It worked out really well. I think the longer you're effectively able to tumble or shake your tub lube switches, the better the more consistent they turn out. Probably with a limit at somewhere around a few hours. Well, probably with a real limit approaching somewhere in the several minutes range. But then, hey, what up, tinfoil? How you doing? Yeah, so I think when you're tub lubing, if you shake for more than like 4, 5, 6 minutes, 10 minutes at most, you're probably not going to get much better results. But after a few hours, I can't imagine it's going to get much better at all if you're shaking vigorously. So tonight, tinfoil, we're just doing some chores. I'm just desoldering this board to recover its switches. So they can be relubed, i.e. lubed uniform to match what I've already got. Is that everything? It looks like everything. Looks like all of it. And because in the end I don't actually want these switches on this board anymore. Like if I'm just being straight up about this little KBDPAD V1. I can't wait till my V2 comes in though. That I'm looking forward to hardcore. I remember seeing something from KBD fans that it would be like the end of this month sometime. Or before the end of this month, I think is specifically what they said. And I can't wait. Something got in there. Gross. Yeah. Anyway, I hope so. The KBD 8X Mark II arrival comes soon. That would be freaking awesome. Be super awesome. I don't know if any of you guys are waiting on something similar, but I got a polycarb one and a matching KBDPAD V2. And we're done with that. It hasn't been that long since we actually put this together, has it? Oh, I felt like our frame rate was low or something. No. Yeah, so as much as I was fine with this and I liked this thing, I'm not using it enough. Want those switches to be lubed like the other, like the best lube jobs I've put on 78 gram Zealio V2s, so they're getting redone. And they're gonna go on something else, probably. Probably this will end up getting Holy Jesus switches because I have so many extras. Like, so there's 285 in that bag, and then I had another 85 or 83 or something like that. Well, probably 84, if I'm being honest. And then a spare one's probably rolling around. But I just had another bag of those laying around, so I guess it's more than that. I guess it's like 300 and change. Holy Jesus switches. It's a lot of Holy Jesus. Holy Jesus. Oh yeah. So I have no idea what are your guys' favorite switches? I'm so curious. Like, I know that the community is very heavily tactile driven, which I guess makes me part of that majority in this case. But it's definitely not everybody. Really enjoying GAT inks lately. Oof. I think GAT inks are good. I think I like Zealios more, but GAT inks are really good switches, truly. Creams do sound really great. I agree with that. I think I like GAT inks for feel more than I like creams. However, the sound of creams is freaking awesome for sure. Ooh. Cream's so good. Interesting to see Top Black on here. Hey, thanks for following. Is that Brian or is that Jay? It's good to see you. You like creams. I think I remember you saying, this must be Brian, right? I think I remember Brian saying he liked creams a bunch in Seattle. I don't know, man. I'm not worried about it. Maybe it's easy to click the follow button again sometimes on accident. I thought I'd seen you guys follow before. Thanks. Yeah, man, I'm just doing like an impromptu stream. I had some stuff I needed to do and I figure I might as well hang out with people. I just desoldered this bad boy to... The switches in it need to get lubed differently than they were. Yeah, so that's why I like Zealios of linears so much. I'm still not really a linear guy, so I hate passing judgment on linears, but picking a favorite linear for me definitely goes to the Zealios because of how smooth they are. Alright guys, this is where we go into the realm of the unknown. Who knows what disgusting mysteries are lying underneath this board? It's okay though. We'll find out together. I guess it has to do with whether you're more driven by feel or sound. For tactiles, I really love good sound. For linears, I kind of just want them to be really, really ultra smooth. I don't know, maybe that makes me a weirdo. Oh, this is actually pretty clean so far, like crazy clean so far. We'll save those, set them aside. So there's something really good about creams though, like, and their sound that's just really satisfying. What are your guys' thoughts on, I'm curious what your thoughts on inks are then, because I feel like personally I like inks more than creams, but again, hard for me to pass judgment not being that into linears as a daily. Like, I've never daily driven linears for a prolonged period of time. Like maybe just a couple days and then back to something tactile. I don't know. I'm gonna force myself to. So I have this fake Skog, which by the way, I always want to caveat. Okay, I'll read this first. Inks are really good. You say they're proportionally as good as Zealios, as in the value scales. Word. Yeah, that I can go along with it. Spelunking a sewer. Yeah, it's actually not too dirty considering how old these boards are. So I have a fake Skog, and I always want to caveat talking about that board as I was pretty new when I bought that board. I would never recommend anyone buy a knockoff board. It just popped up on Mech Market a long time ago, and I bought one, and I felt bad about it ever since, which is why I haven't built it yet. But also, it's an investment of some sort sitting in my closet. So I am gonna build it. It took some damage in shipping, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna fix it or not, or just let it wear its damage since it's a knockoff. But I'm gonna build it, and I'm gonna put Zealios in it, and I'm gonna try and daily drive it for a little while just to, you know, see if I can really long term. I've never really considered it for a long term option for me, but I wanna try and drive it a little often. Yeah, I like inks less than Zealios too. I feel like Zealios are just a little smoother and just a little tighter. But yeah, they're expensive. You're totally right, man. I think that's how I feel about inks. But when you lube inks up pretty well, I mean, the difference becomes, I don't want to say it's not noticeable. It's still noticeable. The difference becomes less noticeable, especially if you like any kind of like buttery heaviness to your lube job, because then it just masks so much of the character comparatively. I mean, I don't know. I think inks are a great option, and I think I'm sure I'll end up with a board of my own that has inks in them at some point. I'm actually waiting on, well, not only am I waiting on my Kepler, Brian, I know you have one, and so jealous. Such a nice board. And yours is well built, by the way. Anyway, I'm waiting on mine, but I have a customer's got inks like just sitting waiting for his Kepler to show up. Project Keyboards is gonna like ship the customer's Kepler direct to me instead of to him for build, and it's like they're just waiting. I don't know. My Kepler is gonna get Brown Alps, so like I already have the keycaps, the switches, everything sitting aside already. Everything's ready to roll for my Kepler, except for the Kepler. It's the only part I'm waiting on. And I can't freaking wait. What do I do with these keycaps? I don't have a big bag like I normally would. Okay, well I know what I'm doing. Sorry guys. This is where they're going. So when I do my Alps harvesting, when I do harvest Alps, which isn't that frequent, because I mean, how many Alps builds do we really do on my stream? The vast majority are MX. Yeah, I try and save all of, and this is important if you guys are going to do this, right? Save all of these stabilizer inserts, the stab wires, even this little plastic tube doodad. Try not to break on the space bar or the enter key this insert, because you might want that. I just try and save all the things. These little brown inserts, I'll pull these out if I'm never going to use these switches again, like with needle nose. Kepler is kind of a showpiece. I don't know what I'm going to, like, I'm guessing mine will reside on my desk a bit for a while. But I don't know, man. The HBCP that I have is like, because I can use it for gaming and because I use my 10 key for gaming like a weirdo, I don't know if Kepler will sit at my main rig. It'll probably sit somewhere else, like maybe at this rig, which I don't really do any gaming on. But I mean, I have like showpiece, like keycaps for it, and it's a showpiece itself, and I'm putting the like craziest, bougiest, basically Alps switches ever made, in my opinion. Well, neon greens, I guess, but they feel like browns, so whatever, same kind of deal. Yeah, anyway, I feel like I'm putting some premium stuff on it so that it can be a showpiece. I don't care if they're 2017 or not. They're amazing for me. Also, I didn't even get into this hobby until 2018, so I know, man, I'm playing too. More options for full size. Yeah, so Austin is launching next month, right? Which is like a compact full size. Compact, yeah, I mean it is. And that's gonna be cool. I'm pretty seriously contemplating being in on that GB. Which is why I say I'm tempted to not get First Love so that I can have more fundage available for next month's. There's another keycap set that somebody invited me to, like a private GB for keycaps, and I'm like, I really want it because it's gonna be cool, but it'll preclude me from probably getting in on some other things that I want to. Man, what a time to live in. A time where we have so many options, we have to choose what to spend our money on. I mean, up until now, we were in like the dark ages of keyboards, really. Like, even though it was probably more exciting then, and because it was more trailblazing, like where we're starting to be now with all the group buys running and all this stuff is like hitting the industrial revolution, right? It's like, oh, now we can manufacture all sorts of things because there's enough demand driving enough manufacturing to get there. And now we just we have all these options. Do I want to? Yeah, I'm gonna pull the keycaps out the. Nah, I'll desolder this one first. This is the real test, right? Not a ton of stuff fell out, so not doing bad. Not doing bad. I don't know. I think different of us have different opinions on it And while there's all sorts of potential negatives to all the people getting into the scene, there's some real positives. And as long as people who are really into it, the community part of it, manage to police it and keep people on a good non-toxic path, manufacturing wise, etc. And I think that's been done, right? In part by people like Brian and Jay, but like by all sorts of people in the community speaking out against shitty behavior and stuff, or trying to make sure that just in general we're all being good stewards. I don't know, there's a lot of good stuff going on as a result, where we're not being crappy in terms of having integrity and making cool products. I'm digging it. It's one of the big draws to the community for me. It's one of the big reasons that I think I started liking it so much. I mean, obviously I like cool keyboards and stuff, but these are really good. These are in like extraordinarily good shape. Sound really good. They feel really clean. The other ones feel clean too. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't think they're quite as good, but we'll see. So this is always the pain in the ass with the Alps, guys. By the way, for any of you guys who don't know, like especially on these Apple keyboards, it's like they bent over tons of these pins to so when they put all the switches in the plate, they stuck it upside down, they stuck the PCB on top, and in order to keep the PCB in place, they just bent all sorts of pins over. Then they started soldering it all together, and as a result, it's very difficult to desolder one of these and maintain the board to save this PCB. It can be done. You have to be careful. You have to do everything right and try not to delaminate pads. I mean, you're gonna have douchebags in every community. It's almost impossible to keep them out. But you think that this committee in particular does a really good job. Yeah, I mean, yes. I think there are issues that have arisen already because of specifically a lot more newbies and a lot of demand and people not really caring about the community so much as themselves, like flipping and stuff like that is a direct impact of that sentiment, right? The negative sentiment, I mean. However, it's being policed fairly well. We're doing, people are trying. They may not be succeeding super well yet, but they're trying to find ways of preventing flipping. And I think one way of doing it that is being investigated more and more is... How bad is that on the levels? Hopefully you guys aren't getting just deafened. One way that's being investigated to do that more, or being used more, is by making private group buys, which unfortunately keeps things pretty exclusive still, but it is what it is. So Brian, you said something really interesting on Top Clack the other night. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not. Can we get a fan service shot? That's... Wait, what? Oof. Fan service shot? What do you mean by fan service shot? Like this fan? It's loud, but it's not terrible. Thanks, dude. Yeah, so Brian, you said something really interesting the other night. You said that there was a group buy where only, and it rose a question in my mind and I had to go check. You said that Norbauer said there was only 2 sets of the ISO kit bought for DSA Galaxy class. And I, since we're here right now, have to ask, right? Is it possible that I am mistaken on what kit I have? Because I looked, and I'm pretty sure this is it. I have that, but I also have this. It cannot be possible that I have both of the existing sets of that. Can it? That doesn't even compute in my brain that I might have the existing sets of that. I thought Jay raised his hand and was like, I got one of those. I'm gonna raise this up here, which hopefully will catch less. Hopefully it'll catch my voice pretty well, but not the burp. I don't know. That kind of blew my mind when you said it. I had to like literally go check the 2 DSA Galaxy class sets that I own. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I think it ran twice. I'm pretty sure it ran twice. And that it won't be running again as a result of crap licensing and CBS in general. Okay, so I'm not trying to preserve this board. So the way I'm handling these bent over pins, let me zoom in for you guys and show you. So I handled it like this, and this is going to lead to delamination in the end. So here's some that aren't. So on pins like this, you would normally put your desoldering pump around the hole, get good suction all around. But in this case, instead of the pin going around, I'm literally going to apply it to the top where the big blob of solder is, and not over the pin. Melt the solder, right? So like literally like this. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it gets most of the solder off, and then I can use a tool to literally pry that up, and it'll delaminate the pad, and then it's trash. So for anybody that's wondering, don't do this thing. The right way, if you want to get that off and be preservative, is to use your tip at an angle to hit the edge of it, let it melt all the solder, and then suck as you rotate the tool to an upright position so that the pins can guide out of the hole in the PCB. That's the way. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Basically, if you're trying to preserve the PCB, you bend it as it's molten, and then that has the most likelihood of preserving this PCB. But I'm not preserving this PCB at all. This PCB is trash. I'm never gonna rebuild an M0116. I literally just want its switches. As clean as this one is. I did do a build once, or a desolder job when I very first started streaming, trying to show people how to do the preservation, and succeeded, but I mean, it's just a lot of work. That would be like if you had a bad switch on a keyboard that you actually want to keep that's a vintage one, and then you would just, desolder that one carefully. So yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of preserving things that you're gonna reuse, but if you know this is trash, nobody's gonna do anything with this again then. I don't know why I'm kind of jumping all over the place. And even then, when you do it that way, you can delaminate the pad like I just did a little bit. But what you gonna do? I think we're a little dirty and we need to clean it up. Yeah, take it easy, man. Take it easy, Brian, as always. That PCB is bad and it should feel bad. Yep. Agreed. Okay. So, always appreciate it when other streamers pop by. Super nice. Super nice of them. I think we're probably hitting the point where we should clean. Damn it, broke that pin. Oh well. It's not that big of a deal when you break an Alps pin because you break it flush at the actual PCB level. So you can still reuse. You can still use that switch. You just don't get as good of a, as good looking of a PCB when you're done when you use it because you don't have as much of the switch sticking up above the PCB. So we're doing this row first apparently. Alright. Get some Alps desoldering going a little quicker now, maybe. If you didn't have all those bent over pins on an Alps board, it would actually be way more straightforward. Would have been these pins over. Did I do the end of this? I didn't. Come on. All right. So the idea if you just heat the top of that solder pad is you're gonna melt the vast majority of that solder and suck it all directly up. Damn it. Another one. That's so irritating. Let's get this one done. So an important thing once you're done with this is that you're going to go back and you're going to actually bend all the pins straight with like needle nose or something. Unfortunately, one of the requirements of Alps, if you want to get it into the next PCB without damaging it, surprised we haven't run any more bent over ones. I don't know if I'm gonna do both of these tonight. Maybe we will. See how much time we're at when we finish this one. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Always appreciated. And again, if you don't care about the PCB, there's all sorts of other things that you can do to make this a little bit quicker. Like, you don't need to pull each switch individually. We're going to try and lift the PCB up off the plate and separate all of them anyway. Man. So it's funny. Trying to think of like key sets that I'm in on over the last couple months that I'm waiting for. I think the next one that I'm waiting on is Waves, maybe? I don't know. No. I take that back. The next one I'm waiting on is DSA Scientific. Anybody remember the old Texas Instruments calculator colors? Did I just date myself? That I'm waiting for. And it will be good. Hopefully. One of my old coworkers and friends, well, you guys have met him on stream, Shocks, I think also got in on that by I think he wants to do something themed though with his. Like, I kind of just want to find a pretty keyboard and call it a day. Hey, what up, man? Hey, this is Monday. Get out of your Twitch. Sorry, man. BBB, man, what's up? No, Monday came on the right day. I normally stream Wednesday. I think that's what you meant to say. Wednesday came early? Yeah. It did this week. It didn't actually come early. This is an extra stream. I just needed to desolder some Alps to get it handled. And you guys are getting to live it with me. By choice, of course, but you guys are here. Thank you. And you get to see when I don't care and I'm not anal about soldering iron technique or trying to be good. I'm just like, no, desolder all the things. F this PCB. Monday, fun day, Friday, Friday. Oh. Yeah, like we wouldn't. Oh, I forgot about this. Like we wouldn't just separate the PCB from the switches and plate normally. Don't care. PCB equals trash in this case. There it goes. Oh, you could hear it like a little zipper. So gross, it just like... Yep. Trash PCB. And a plate that is actually fairly non-disgusting as they go. So let's save all these. Oh no. It flipped off. Oh. Oh. Let's see. Okay, so the easiest way to do this, though, guys, is to use a little spudger tool. Shocks, man. That was an interesting conversation we had earlier. I don't know if you want to tell your whole story of what you're trying to do, and you don't have to, but needless to say, Shocks has something potentially that will accelerate my return to the world of painting metal things. Yeah, that thing. I'm pretty, I don't know. I mean, I have something else I need to paint also, but oh no, that one definitely flew out under. That's the story. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of only ever, well, I didn't anticipate anything that big, but it's very possible my curing oven that I made or bought all the parts for and designed previously, didn't actually make yet, although all the parts are literally just sitting in it, are there. Every time before I Cerakoted, it's always been in an oven. I don't know. Well, the story had a beginning. Oh, I don't know. I'm just I'm looking forward to setting back up for Cerakote. It's starting to cool off where I'm at enough that it would be like bearable to go out and do that thing. I know some of you guys live in parts of the country or world where it's like, where it gets actually cold. That's not where I'm at, but it does get actually hot. Like no joke hot. Yeah, there may be. I don't know. I mean, so when you do, so from what I looked up earlier, I mean, carbon fiber, it's just a resin that's on the outside. So that shouldn't be a problem. But on the fiber directly could potentially be. Could have different curing requirements, but carbon fiber is also cured in an oven at temperature. So the likelihood that it wouldn't be able to take the curing temperatures of Cerakote, which are relatively lower, would be, well, low. Because carbon fiber's curing temps are higher. Plus, it'll already be cured for a long time by the time it makes to me. Yeah, Orange Alps, baby. And these ones were clean too at the beginning of the video. I was kind of surprised at how nice they were. They feel good. And we have another one of these. Do we have enough time? Yeah. We can at least take it apart and look. See what we get. Let's clean it though. Get some solder on there, tin that tip. Let it cool. Pull that bad boy out. So when I accidentally left this iron on for an entire week, the only part I had to replace was this top piece right here. And it still worked. The old one still worked. It just didn't work as well. Like the part of the seal wasn't as good. Crazy. Amazing tool. Hacko FR301. Orange Alps are number one in your heart. Ooh. I mean, brown Alps are number one in mine, if we're talking switches, but Orange Alps are freaking fantastic for sure. No. Where I live is the desert enough that there isn't enough fuel between me and where the rest of the fuel in California is, in the mountains. I could have just burned down my house. Yeah, bad news bears. Well, I mean, I have mine in like a real good safety stand. Like the actual Hacko one that you have to pay extra for because it doesn't ship with it. Like, it's shielded specifically to prevent fire. But it doesn't lower its temperature, unlike my actual soldering iron, which... Okay, so this one is not as clean. It's not crazy dirty, but there's some junk in there. And a stamp. Ooh, a 29-cent stamp, guys. It's like a treasure hunt. It's like a treasure hunt. Can anyone remember when 29-cent stamps were a thing? I'm gonna go with 1992. Since that's what it says in the upper corner. The 80s. Yeah, well, I mean, close enough. I think 92 it looked like. So yeah, probably they were a good thing in the 80s. I think I remember when that stamp got replaced. People being like, it's been forever since they raised the price of stamps. That was like an impression of my grandma. I think. Channeling. You were AFK a bit. How was the quality of the Orange Alps in the last board? Good. The board actually looked cleaner than this one. These ones feel good. Not bad, anyway. The other ones felt better for sure. I would say the other ones, these ones are really good. These are some of the best examples of Alps that I've harvested. I don't know, man. They're not very dusty. Seem like they're pretty pristine. They're 7 or 8 out of 10. They're really good, man. I'm hesitant to say 9 because 9 is super good, pristine. These ones feel okay though. They're not as good, but they're good. You need stamps is apparently the same as get off my lawn. What kind of layout is this? That command is a monster and that space is a micro. Yeah, so the space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.75. And command looks like it's 1.75. It is 1.75. This is Apple M0116. Probably one of the most prolific Apple keyboards ever. Maybe the most prolific. It was super, super common. And they're all Orange Alps. M0116. They are all, yes. Probably the coolest Apple board though is the M0115, which is the Apple extended keyboard, which looks a bit different. I have one. Maybe not prolific. One of the most prolific and sought after is the M0115, which looks a little bit more like what you'd expect it to look like. Also Orange Alps in this one. These Orange Alps are super nice. Yep. Is that new key company board planning to be this or some other M0116? I think it's laid out similar to this, but it's not modeled after this keyboard externally. It's modeled after something else, and I can't remember. And I believe it is actually a slightly different layout because it doesn't have this key. I don't know. You guys will have to look it up to get all the specifics. But there is an older board that it's modeled after, I believe. Yeah, M0110, which is not Alps at all. It's or if it is, it's not Alps with this kind of a stem. I can't remember what switches is at. Nothing that you could put in a modern keyboard though. Yeah, SKCC. There you go. That sounds more right. Or SKCF, right? There's a bunch of them. There's like SKFL, I think. I have one of those in there. Where the like Alps tops are metal, so it has a similar stem. That's what I think. I'm thinking. I hope that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm not mixing it up with yet something else. I lose track of the vintage Alps that we can't really realistically use in modern boards at this point. It's been so long now. In my mind, so long is like however long it takes me to basically lose track of the details because I'm not using them. There you go, the M0110A. Sure, it has the details of what it is. SKCC, yeah. So that's what it's modeled after for sure. And it looks cool. Yeah, that's the one that has the weird like cruciform shape, but not an MX cruciform. Womp womp. I don't know what to say, man. If only we could use some of the old switches. Like I have a board in there that's dome with slider that like from a laptop where the switches all say Alps on top of them and they have a metal top and they're freaking awesome for a dome. I mean, I'm not saying they're awesome compared to some of the mechanical switches we have now, just they're pretty darn, they're better than any dome that we have now. And so how weird is it when you see A freaking 1.75U stabilized keycap. I think I've seen a 1.5U stabilized before also. Why can't you use the old switches? So we could, the truth is we could use the old switches if we had a PCB to support it or if we hand wired them in. But some of them have like 4 contact legs. They're weird, man. Some of them are made to be stabilized by a PCB or a plate specifically. So having a custom plate made and having a custom PCB made is doable, absolutely. Just not necessarily as easy as going and buying something already made by somebody. I mean, I'm down, Sean. If you find a board, if you find one that you think is freaking awesome, I'm definitely interested in being involved. Tyler Durdens, thanks for following, man. Yeah, I'm definitely down to be involved in making a cool old vintage board remake. I think you know it. That sounds exciting. And probably I could come up with some cool examples of boards that would work. I mean, the best would be, honestly, if we're gonna do something old and vintage, would be find something that's plate spring to harvest stuff from and make a new board more premium that uses those. That would probably be what I would target. Could 3D print some of those things. Yeah, absolutely you could. Not the PCB, but all the SKCC switches are linear though, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure there's nowhere for a tactile leaf in them. I believe you are correct, BBB. I hope I am. I don't know. My old Alps knowledge is not where it used to be. Again, mostly because it turns out that 90% of the stuff we build on this channel is not Alps. But we are going to have some interesting Alps builds coming up in the near future. When HBCP production run comes through, we're going to build that in Alps. We're going to build Kepler in Alps. At least mine will be built in Alps. Although we're going to build more than just mine. And those will almost unilaterally not be Alps. Because people aren't as interested. I think if you talk to 159, he only sold a couple or a few Alps plates. We'll see. We'll see. But mine will definitely be Alps. Them tasty Alps browns. Yeah. I still have like Alps keycap sets that I need to go through, like throwback. And I'm gonna get DCS Yuri Alps. Because who wouldn't? Although I am really bummed. I really want it to have numpad support. Like really, really, so we can do 1800 Alps with a modern key set. I don't think I've ever had these hang on here so tightly. This is gonna be more gross when we turn this upside down. It's a little grosser. Not super gross. But for reference here, I'll show you what the two inside cases look like. So here's the dirtier one, the one that we just took. And here's the cleaner one. Yeah, this one's way cleaner, and it's obvious, not on camera. Throwback is a pain in the butt. How? How is throwback a pain in the butt? Like, to find something to match it to? Because I could see putting it on my Kepler. Do you have throwback, and was it a pain for you somehow? Or is it just a pain in the wallet? Because it definitely was that. Fleet and stuff. What do you mean? Because it should support like both WinKey and WinKeyless TKL, as far as I know. As far as I know. Wallet, though, for sure. There's like not even a doubt. That shit was mad expensive. Like crazy. Is it different than any other? Is it different than any other Alps stabilizer situation? Where you use CoStar type stabilizers anyway? Yeah, cherry inserts. So the black AliExpress case that I have that has Alps Blues in it has that same thing. It's definitely harder than like GMK screw-in stabilizers, and they'll never be as good. What I would really like to see is a PCB that supports the Cherry screw-in stabilizers with Alps support. Like, I would like to see H87A Alps or H87 Alps, the Heine PCB, have the inserts for Cherry style screw-in stabs. That would be the best. Truthfully, that would be like optimal. I don't know. I am hoping to use my Alps throwbacks on something. I just don't know what yet. So guys, do you know what good 60% PCBs with Alps support are there out there right now? Because if there's a good option for that, I may have a good idea for what to use my Alps throwbacks on. Because there's only one or two that I'm aware of at any given time. I will have to look it up, I suppose. See if anyone's got one. Sure, LFK makes something. Though I don't think their stuff is particularly good. I don't know. I think Alps stuff could be in a better state, but I think there's such an abundance of good MX stuff that we just tend not to find a reason, other than the few of us in the community who are outspoken about it, to try and innovate support for Alp stuff. Maybe if Matthias switches were any good at all, we'd be in a different boat. Maybe. I mean, I think we would be. Just not where we're at, unfortunately. Oh, none of the switches in this row were bent over at all. Even looking ahead. Totally different standards. Like, this PCB does not have a bunch of bent over leads. It has some, but not as many as that last one. I wonder, we should ask Heine sometime. I wonder how many like H87 Alps boards sold. Surely enough to make it worth it for him, but I wonder how many that actually was. Unknown. Man, we're actually burning through this way faster than I thought we would. It doesn't feel faster than I thought it would be, but like looking at the timer, it looks like it was. Kind of mind-boggling. log sound. Helps so much to have the right size actual tool for this job. I was using the 1mm thick on the 1.3mm tips. I think it was working okay, but like I don't think it cleaned the flash hole out as well. Moral of the story, always use the right tool for the job, the right size tool for the job. Am I right? Bend all these pins up. Okay. Except for this like one pin over here, we almost actually, I think, saved the PCB's solder pads. Ooh, this one's gonna be rough though. This upper row seems to have a lot of bent over stuff. And that one ripped off. Sorry, this isn't the most exciting. The Alps harvest, not the most exciting of the jobs and keybs. It's like lubing switches, kind of. Maybe that's why not a lot of people are into Alps stuff. Because harvesting is a pain. But I mean, people sometimes wonder why Orange Alps sell for as much as they do. I suppose this is why. Because they're really nice, but there's also a lot of work involved in getting them. Especially off of alpha boards. Okay, what do we got? One more, I think. Maybe. I guess we'll see. Alps are so expensive now. They really are. Shocks, man. Jealous of this. If you want help looking for good Alps stuff, Shocks, I will help you figure it out. I will, absolutely. eBay is a good place to look. Back market can be. Alps stuff is expensive right now. BBB is not wrong. But there are still sometimes good deals to be had. Especially if you set up alert bots to help you. I think I got these Orange Alps, these two boards. I got both of these M0116s for $110. That's a really good deal, but I paid more than that for Orange Alps in the past, so. Boom, 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 boom. It's common on Mac Market to see Orange Alps for what? $1 a switch? More than that? $1.10, $1.20? I'm guessing about $1, which makes them not really much worse than Zealios, right? If we're being real honest. For some reason, you see M0116s though go for like an exorbitant amount of money sometimes. That I don't understand. I mean, I appreciate that. You're definitely getting the friends and family discount there, though. Aww. I don't know. I don't actually have that many customers ever come to me and are like, I want an Alps something or other build. It just mostly doesn't happen. I think most of the people who are into Alps enough to research and figure out what they want, like, they pretty much know where they're going, what they're looking for. It's not to say no one. I have had people hit me up before and be turned off by the price. But I'm down to help you, man. Just because. I don't want my friends who are into keyboards to ever end up with bad keyboards. That would be the worst. I mean, unless they chose them, right? I mean... Speaking of, there's a couple keyboard meetups coming up soon. In case you want to check out a bunch of them. Is anybody else here going to any of the meetups? Anybody going to NorCal? Anybody going to SoCal? NorCal is in November. SoCal is in December. I'm down, man. That sounds great. Should totally go. Flasian, I know you told me before where you're at. You told us the stream, but I'm curious. Where are you from again? Is it just out of your reach? Too far away? Too much time off required kind of deal? Because that's the worst, isn't it? Greenland. Sodak, that's right. You did say that. Oh. Yeah, I could see that being rough. BBB, Greenland, nice. Like, literally the only person into keyboards in Greenland. You get to sift through all of the vintage keyboards in Greenland. Saving up for someone special. Guess a ring is coming in the future. Well, good for you. Good for you. I am happy for you. I am. That is a noble cause. Worth skipping out on some meetups for, at least. So this tiny spacebar stabilizer isn't really worth anything. We're gonna save it in case we're ever making a custom wire or something like that, but it's not actually worth very much in terms of usefulness. But the rest of these are. Yeah, Shocks, we'll talk offline, man, and figure out which one is better to go to. I mean, I'm gonna go to both. That's just happening. I don't know. I think I'm going to try and make it to even more meetups next year. If I have the ability to. If like it doesn't take a ton of time to make it or something, or they butt up against holiday weekends, or be like, boom. Okay, let me turn that fan off. Look, guys, I turned it off. It would be terrible if I did that accidentally a second time. Especially since I, like, made a point to never do it again. And I called myself out on it in the first place. Alright, guys. That is actually just about it tonight. I don't think I have anything I'm trying to build tonight. I mean, you guys know I have a bunch of stuff to build, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 TX cases, J01, KBD8X Mark II coming soon, Rukia, Kepler, HBCP, final production run, all sorts of stuff, guys. Those are just mine. Those aren't customer builds. Customer builds. I think next week we're building. Are Are we building a Duck Unicorn X Legend next week? I think that's what we're building next week. I have to look it up. Do I have a display for all my keyboards? No, but I need to build something. Like, the problem is this back wall, there's like no good space to hang anything on, so it'd be hard for me to put a display there. I mean, I could put one below that light switch where those boxes are. Yeah, so next week we're building next week we're building an E6.5, and then the following week we will be on Mechs on Deck, and then the week after that, so October 9th, we're going to build a Duck Unicorn X Legend, and then it looks like we're going to be building a Tofu acrylic or an E6.5 in polycarbonate. I'm not really sure yet. It totally depends on which customer's parts and stuff all arrives first. But then we'll be building that. And at some point we're going to work in all of these builds. Petrov, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, so then we'll build in the rest of this stuff. TX 1800 V2, Fake Skog, TX84 SE, 5 degree Salamander. So those are mine, and most of those are rebuilds. You've only seen some of them on stream. You guys have seen you may have only ever seen me build the Salamander, I guess. That's the only one of those I built on stream. The rest of them I didn't build elsewhere, or I didn't build. I bought the way they are, or whatever. So we're gonna redo them, and then at some point we're also gonna redo this KBD 75, because I am tired of my streaming rig having switches that are in here. They are Otemu Skies, and well, we could use something a little better. Maybe something a little silent, or maybe a different board. Like maybe something completely different will rest here in the future. I'm hoping to get in on Chimera, and then that be the streaming rig main board. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Seriously, that was like super cool little desolder and hangout session. I appreciate you guys showing up on short notice. I didn't know for sure that I was gonna do it until I posted literally 10 minutes before we started. I mean, I was confident that we were probably going to, but wasn't a for sure gig. So again, thanks for bearing with me and joining. I think so. Wednesday will be the E6.5. So I shouldn't say next week, is that? That's this week. 2 days. 2 nights from tonight. I will see you guys there. Please feel free to join, hang out. The regular build streams are probably a little more exciting than the Alps builds for anybody who isn't usually in my oh man, sorry. Yeah, so really I just I built this on stream. I desoldered it. I'll go over it a little bit, what I'm going to be doing. I desoldered this to harvest its Zealios V2s for a reason. And then I desoldered 2 Apple M0116s with Orange Alps. All of these Orange Alps. This is kind of just prepping to give me some of the other things that I'm going to do, or to be ready for. So like those Zealios that I harvested, there are not a lot of them, but I have Zealios that are lubed a little differently than the ones I like, than the way I like to lube them the most. So I'm actually pulling those out, and I'm going to throw those, all their parts, back in the mix and then lube a bunch. I've been lubing a bunch the last 2 days. I lubed like 400 or 500 switches yesterday, and then I have a bunch more things to lube, like 200 and 85 Holy Jesus plus another 85 Holy Jesus. These are lightly lubed, so when I take all these apart, these are going to go back in the mix, all their parts, to get lubed a little heavier. And then there's only 67 gram Zeal V2s. I have 40 more coming, and then I'm going to lube those all together. There's 120, I think, actually in here, because there's a 110 plus a bag of 10. 78 gram Zealio V2, or Xylent V2s. Some 62 gram Xylent V2s. Yeah, man, I got a bunch of lubing. I'm not gonna show all my lubing on stream. Like, that shit took forever yesterday. And I ended up pulling out my rock tumbler to accomplish my lube job. I literally took these two containers that I lube my stems and springs in respectively, right? And I put them in a bag. I tightened the lid, pushed this lid on with a bunch of stems and springs, put them in a bag, each in their individual bags, and then threw them in my rock tumbler and just let them mix up and get all evenly distributed, mostly out of laziness, because ain't nobody got time for that. And the 62 gram Zealios that I lubed yesterday and the Telios turned out really well. And I evened out the lube on some Telios, where I had some Telios that were very lightly lubed and some that weren't at all. And I pulled them all out, got them all mixed up by hand a little bit. Then I applied more lube to get them to where I wanted them to be, threw those in the tumbler. Worked out well. And I'm probably going to end up using that method a lot more as when I have more switches to lube. Just because it's consistent. Super consistent and low rent, right? All I got to do is throw them in there and turn it on. It's a big rock tumbler. So yeah, so at some point I'll also rebuild this with something different in it. Holy Jesus, probably, since I got so many. One more board that goes into the needs to be built pile of my personal ones. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of builds coming up over the next few months. A lot of mine mixed in with a lot of customer builds. I'm not gonna slow down on that. I'm probably just gonna do some extra builds here and there on the weekends, etc., to mix some extra stuff in and get a little more done. Again, thank you guys for showing up. Thanks for participating, for hanging out. I appreciate your guys' presence and your support on my stream all the time. Okay. I didn't miss anything that I needed to say. Good. All right, guys. Take it easy. Good night. See you in 2 days. All right, bye.